When we lose someone we love, grief is a heavy burden. But with funerals costing up to $10,000, there's also the financial burden on whānau. However, there are a growing number of alternatives to caring for the bodies of loved ones, or tūpapaku. Mediana Johnson sat down with those in the Bay of Plenty who are reviving practices that are not only cheaper, but also healing for whānau.
Haere atu ki tua o te āroi. When a loved one passes, whānau are left in the dark.
It just seemed so unnatural and so, yeah, confronting.
But from darkness comes light.
I found there was a whole other way. It was the most sacred and beautiful process.
So tell me a bit about where we are now.
We're here at Ihukatia in Ohope. This is where me and Josh first met. We often came here on dates, we'd park up the car and reverse it back and have fish and chips in the back, and yeah.
And when you come back here, how does it make you feel?
Like I'm getting a big awhi from him, yeah.
Sharday Cable-Ranapia fell hard for young scaffolder Josh.
Everything happened really fast-paced. Yeah, it was just real magnetic, real magic.
I couldn't have chosen a more amazing man. We will grow old together, you and me.
I promise to tell you the truth and love you till death do us part. I can't wait to grow old with you.
It felt way too good to be true. Like, is this really happening? Is this real?
For 18 months it was, until the pain began.
At the time, he was a go-hard rugby fanatic, played for Pāho. There was 8 to 10 doctor visits. They thought it was rugby.
Finally, a hospital admission and some answers.
The doctors are saying that they think it might be cancer.
The fit and healthy young rugby player was diagnosed with Ewing Sarcoma, cancer of the bone.
The cancer was quite aggressive. There was no time to muck around.
Did you ever have a conversation with him about the fact that his death was inevitable?
No, I didn't. It was in his mind, there was no way. Yeah, we just had a baby. We were so happy he wasn't going to go. So my role to awhi him was to fight with him. Sorry. Yeah. So there wasn't much preparing in that sense because, yeah, we were fighting to win. So we got 9 months with him from diagnosis to the time that he passed.
Josh was 25. What followed would ultimately change the direction of Sharday's life.
My only knowledge was that, yeah, we called the funeral director. They came out and we helped them to get him onto gurney and into the hearse, and off we went. I had a real uncomfortable feeling about actually leaving him then for the next process. I knew that he was going to go be embalmed and that's what had to be done. It was just so strange, you know, the smell, the chemical smell for me, his touch, the feeling of him, so different. There's no intimacy and it definitely doesn't feel like our culture.
So people aren't going to funeral directors because basically the funeral directors often pick up the body. And then they just go with the flow because that's all they know.
Ruth Gerzon is a community advocate living in Ohope.
I just love the idea of communities taking more responsibility in life as well as in death to look after their own and not having to pass things over to professionals.
She runs the Funeral Guides Collective, a group that supports whānau to look after their deceased loved one without the need for a funeral director.
We've lost that knowledge. The funerals became professionalised and the communities have lost that knowledge.
Sharday's impersonal experience with Josh sent her on a journey for that knowledge.
I found there was a whole other way that we could do through Papaku death care.
The answer lay in mātauranga Māori.
And I was like, oh my God, like this, I instantly felt that I'm going to be doing this. Like, this is where I'm meant to be. This is my calling. It just all made sense.
Shrouding, or wrapping the body in cloth before burial, is one way she's learned to care for tūpāpaku.
So I dye my sheets in kokowai and earth pigment. So I'd like to use whenua that is where they're from. This process for me is really healing.
What is it about the process that's healing for you?
Just knowing that, yeah, this is my whenua. This is Ngāti Pūkeko kokowai. Using a shroud on tūpāpaku is always a real honour.
How long would this process take with the whānau?
Depending if you were going gathering through kokowai and where, but usually like an afternoon spent, a few hours, this process. This would be a very healing time where you can sit around with whānau and connect and talk about whakapapa. We speak a lot about taking care of papatuanuku in life, and I think it's just as important to talk about in death, to practice in death.
Something she wished she'd known earlier.
I was so happy, but also so sad that I only know this now and wish that I could have done that for Josh, yeah.
But what she wasn't able to do then, she's now helping other whānau do. And the knowledge is spreading across the rohe. At just 19, Whātonga is already giving back to his community.
I've created 2 so far alongside my team, but I've only started doing it for 2 months now. So it's pretty exciting, still learning.
A takapau wharenui is another alternative to a coffin or shroud.
The teachings that I've been taught is we start off with panels. So starting off with our sides. The reason why we pull our harakeke up in line with our ara is that so we create a tighter weave and our weave doesn't fall apart or gaps show when it dries out. It's very important to, keep your weave tight so that, your tūpāpaku don't fall out. So to complete takapau wharaanui, depends if you've got a good group, about 9 hours. I think it's awesome because he mātauranga Māori, and it also creates a financial and sustainable space for our whānau.
How big of an issue is funeral poverty here in the store here?
There's a lot of funeral poverty here. I mean, you could have 2 or 3 deaths in a whānau, and it can be up to 10,000 each. And, within a year, that's a lot of money for whānau here.
A government grant, if you need it, is only $2,400.
And the funeral directors will tell us that there's a lot of bad debt that they're carrying.
But she says the industry isn't fully supportive of their work.
The Funeral Directors Association, in some of their submissions to the government, really wanted everyone to learn how to be like them and to be embalming and all of those things. And we're saying, no, that knowledge is not what we want.
And Ruth is up against a powerful industry.
Those funeral directors, our local ones, I think are wonderful. Nationally, I am concerned that there are 2 big Australian corporations that have bought up a lot of the funeral homes in New Zealand now. So I do worry about the industry as a whole in New Zealand.
So it's big business?
Yeah, it is a big business.
There are some beautiful people that work as funeral directors, and the mahi that they do is stunning. But to me, we can do this ourselves.
Sharday's darkest days are now a gift.
People often say to me, you know, you must get real sad or it must be heavy, but when there's that much love around, it's so beautiful and a real honour and privilege.
Helping other whānau navigate their grief. Providing some comfort for her too, as she moves forward with her young whānau.
Because you're never going to move on, I feel like, but moving forward was going to be easier now.
Now, the Funeral Directors Association of New Zealand says while embalming is not mandatory, all funeral homes must offer whānau alternative preparation options. However, they say it is the best method available for caring for tūpapaku before burial. They're calling for the WINZ funeral grant to be raised to support low-income whānau, many of whom are opting to have no funeral because of financial constraints.